What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about cha-ching! Prince of Fools by Mark Lawrence. So for you guys that don't know, Prince of Fools is book number 1 in the Red Queen's War trilogy, which is a trilogy that takes place in the Broken Empire. But not only does it take place in the Broken Empire, it takes place the same time as our journey with Jorgen the Road Brothers. So they run concurrent with each other. So technically you could start with either trilogy, though I will say having read the Broken Empire first definitely fills in a lot of the world building gaps in this one. But let's get into it. In the story, we follow Jalin Kendith, who is a prince here in the Broken Empire. He's a prince in the Red March, but he's also very far down the line. It's pretty much impossible for him to actually be the one to take the throne, and Jalin is actually very okay with this. Pretty much immediately, we get to know Jalin as a coward. We just know that he's not really going to work too hard or do anything too brave to get what he needs. But he is a resourceful guy. I honestly, after reading the book, this is a character that has a very barred personality. He's very much like a Casanova kind of character. A Casanova coward, if you will. So when the story starts, we're really following Jalin as he's kind of, making his escape from his recent love interest's brother. Like I said, he's a coward. He's running away, and he probably couldn't be having a better time doing it. From here, though, we will start to understand, just Jalin, his family, because he is a prince here in Red March. We come to find out that his grandma is the Red Queen. And basically, she holds court pretty early here in the story. Jalin attends. And this is where we first get to see our introduction to the Silent Sister, and this is somebody that has been kind of plaguing Jalin since he was a kid. Not many people can see her, but Jalin can, but he's learned to keep his mouth shut because it seems to serve his interests for the better. During this meeting with his grandmother, she really is starting to tell she's telling all of them, hey, look, there's a threat. And it is upon us. The dead king and, these armies. But all Jalin is basically hearing is blah, 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 blah. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. He's, he doesn't worry. He's not up to be in the throne. He doesn't need to be brave. All he's got to do is sit back, relax, and get laid, I guess. It will be at the same court meeting, though, where we are introduced to our second half of what will be the dynamic duo here. And this is our character of Snorri vs. Snarlson. And he is from the north. And he is there. He has been captured. He's basically a slave at this point. But he's there in court to tell everybody, look, I have seen the dead. But the one thing that Jalin sees is he doesn't really see this guy warning him of a threat. He sees a big old bastard that he can make money off of fighting him in the pits. This is basically exactly what happens. This is what we see Jalin really getting, crafty with it. And he gets this thing set up where he's basically kind of owns Snorri and he's going to fight him in the pits. And this kind of doesn't really go the way Jalin expects. And Snorri makes a very epic escape after these fights in this pit, which are just, let's face it, it was an awesome beginning, an awesome opening scene. Lots of action, lots of cool, and, a bear. Shortly after this, Jalin attends an opera house event, which does go wrong. This will send Jalin head over heels running at mass speed into a twist of fate. It will be a magical event that will bring him and Snorri together and make them very inseparable, whether he likes it or not, which I don't think he really does like it very much. And what plays out from here is basically a very comical journey in a grimdark world. It's great. Like I said, Jalin and Snorri are not exactly too stoked about their new union. They've become inseparable. And they're basically being pushed by fate in a certain direction. And they're going along for the ride because also along the way, they're trying to find people that could possibly help them break this curse, this magic, whatever it is. We really get to see the Broken Empire open up here as we travel from Red Marsh into Ancraft and beyond, all the way up north to places that we have not seen yet in the Broken Empire, which is awesome. I really enjoyed getting to see a new side of this world. And the journey there is just great. Like I said, it's almost a comical one because you really have this... You have just two polarizing characters. They're complete opposites, but they've been bound tightly together, and the journey along the way is just so much fun. So first thing, let's just get into the characters, because this is definitely a character-driven story, even though it does have this plot. Man, Snorri versus Snarlison, so good. He's so friendly. He's so, like, it's so easy to love this big old giant badass, like, it's almost strange, right? Because this is something I'm not used to here in the Broken Empire, like, world. Whenever you get nice guys, they're very contrasting to everybody else and everything else here in the Empire. Snorri is no exception. You could tell, like, he's a bright, shining light in this dark world, and he's a lot of fun. It's incredibly hilarious to watch him, you know, just kind of build this relationship with Jalin. He calls him Jal, which really starts to grade on Jalin, and he's just notorious for telling Jalin that, like, he's brave and he's all these things that Jalin cannot fathom that he is, because his actions don't prove it. But Snorri always finds a way to kind of find this different perspective to show Jalin that, yes, he really is a brave man. Then we have Prince Jalin Kindeth himself, and this guy is so much fun. He is the perfect coward. His cowardice is so comical. I was laughing out loud several times while reading this, and it was all Jalin just being a complete, you know, hot mess on the battlefield or just in any heated situation. He is truly a coward. He's a coward's coward, and it's just well constructed. You might kind of go, like, why would I want to follow a coward that doesn't seem that fun? But trust me, Jalin Kindeth makes it all the fun. The next thing I want to get into is the writing, just because this is a book one in a new trilogy for Mark Lawrence, and just kind of comparing it to his last trilogy, I would say that it's very obvious that he's made an improvement in his writing. To me, I would say, you know, this is definitely, it's a grimdark book, and Mark Lawrence, every chance he gets, he's going for it. You know, if he's got a chance to show you the skin sloughing off and other gross, gory details, he goes for it. Now, I do say that, you know, this is a dark book, but I won't say it's that dark. Like, it's grimdark, maybe just barely grimdark. But the writing is just improved. I noticed it. You could say, oh, we're dealing with first-person narratives, so just because of the fact that we've switched from Jorg to Jalin, the Broken Empire itself has gotten a little bit more beautiful. But I think that is just kind of not giving props where props are due. I think that Mark Lawrence is obviously becoming a better writer. The chaos, the havoc, it's just everything. Everything is written better. It just is more beautiful. It flows a little bit better. It doesn't... Yeah, I think that his writing has improved. I do feel, though, the world building in the book has been pinched back a little bit compared to the Broken Empire. Now, though, when it goes to the magic, I would say I felt happier with how he handled the magic in this book than how the magic was kind of handled in the Broken Empire. Same magic, guys. I'm just saying the way he's describing it in here, I didn't get as lost. But also, you know, I have the knowledge from the first trilogy, so kind of hard to tell, right? Now, as far as my 2 cents for the slow and the struggling, man, I would say just have fun. This one is just like I said, Mark Lawrence's writing is not going to create these hurdles for you that are just impossible to get over. I feel like no matter where you are at in your reading journey, you can handle his writing style. And the cool thing about this book is that it's also pretty much more accessible to everybody, just being the fact that Jalin is just not as brutal as Jorg. You know what I mean? You're not dealing with somebody. Yes, he's a womanizer. You know, he's not a perfect dude. He's not, you know, necessarily even a good guy. But he's much more cuddly than Jorg. So I do think that makes it a smoother ride for most. Like I said, I actually enjoy the Broken Empire so far a little bit more. I like that darker tone stuff. But I do think for those that aren't looking for that kind of, that dastardly of a protagonist, I think that this is a great grimdark book because there's lots of levity in here as well. I would say if like fans, like people that like that first law tone are going to love Prince of Fools. All right, guys. Thanks for spending some time down here at the channel. And to Mark Lawrence, akadoosh, 2 thumbs up. Man, I'm super stoked to get into this Red Queen's War. I'm extremely happy that I'm reading The Broken Empire alongside it. Honestly, guys, I would really suggest, if you have the time or just like, you know, you want to get really into it, that's the best way to do it, I think, is read book 1 and book 1, book 2, book 2, book 3, book 3. Hey, and if you can, throw Road Brothers in there too. I don't know. I mean, this is how I'm approaching it. You know, I even went out and read Clockwork Orange. I'm doing everything I can to suck up as much of the Broken Empire as I can. It is just a relentless, brutal world, but it wasn't written without thought. And I could see that, and I appreciate that, and that's why I like to spend some time there. So, all right, guys. If you're new, please like and subscribe. Helps grow the channel. And as always, brrr.